Hello YouTube, I Fix It All here, Team I Fix It All. I hate it when I start a video when I screw it up and hit stop instead of pause. But anyway, I scored some really decent dirt here, and I'll bring a dirt clod with me to compare what was put on in the raised garden beds when I first built my raised garden beds compared to what I've got in my hand. I've got some experimental cabbage in up here. Cold weather plant, so get some in early if you can. That's going to be your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts, and cabbage, or you get it in late in the year. But it all depends on your sunlight, guys. You got to have sun in those cold times too. But what I have noticed is the cabbage, when the sun does hit this mulch, the physical characteristics of mulch getting warm, it will affect your aka cold weather plants. So the wilt factor is pretty high. However, looks like the onions aren't really complaining too badly. But this upper area here is usually reserved for my squash and things like that, and pumpkin. I'll be getting to that soon, hopefully. Got my taters in, they're popping. They've been in for about 3.5 weeks. I want to try to get a second crop of taters in. Got peas in. A lot of my pea seed is getting kind of old, but hey, I put them in like this. Seed, 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 using that fencing as a reference mark. And they came up like 50%. So I came behind myself a couple of days ago and reseeded. Of course, every time I do that, the original seed, most of that pops. It just takes longer. So, and I haven't been watering this either. None of these peas. I was just letting the natural rains come and bring them up. Taters have been in for quite a while. Not as early as I wanted to get them in. I wanted to have them in like the first week of March, but I think I got them in maybe first week of April. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get 2 crops this year. I might be able to, but just so you know, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I am a potato bugs. I discovered that if I can plant these early in mulch, I don't really care about frost and such, because those potatoes will recover from a frost. The plants themselves, because there's always another eye just coming up behind the next eye waiting to take over. So if you can get your taters in first, second week of March, and then let them pop through in April, something might happen in May, maybe not, if you're lucky, but you'll be harvesting first, second week of June. And if you drop right behind yourself first, second week of June after your first harvest, you got time to get a second harvest in. And that's dealing with mulch only. And this is not hard digging either. You just kind of scoot the mulch back and get your taters. And you're not dealing with potato bugs, because you're harvesting when potato bugs are not at their peak, which is the months of June, July, and August. At least where I'm at. I got a couple of rows of beets. One row I put in, I just trenched in below the existing mulch and dropped seed and kind of covered them up, so they're popping through. They've been in there for about 3 weeks. The second row I got in like 2 or 3 days ago, but I covered it up with some of this new dirt I got, and I just walked on that dirt and smashed it down, and I'm gonna let the natural rain take care of watering it. My corn, let me tell you how I do my corn for small areas. A lot of people don't have big areas to grow in. Am I zoomed in? God, I always ask myself that. Yes, I'm zoomed in. This is a small area, like 15 by 20. I've got 5 rows of corn in here. The hills are not the corn. The deep valley is the corn. And what I did was, here's my methodology of what I'm doing. I I've got my corn in a coffee cup and it's soaking. And I begin trenching and hoeing up a row for corn. And then what I did was, since I have this brand new dirt that's fancy schmancy, I don't want to have any giveaways because someone out there may get word. I don't want to be too detailed on that, but it was really good dirt. Okay, it's kind of hard to find here in Appalachia. And I hauled some of that dirt down here and I threw it on top of my corn, and I walked on it to pack it, you know, 5 rows of corn here. And what's going to happen is, when that corn gets to be about, let's say, as tall as that dog tail right there, or this little ornamental dog, when it gets about that tall, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to throw mulch around the corn stalks. And then when the corn gets up to about maybe my hip, I'm going to be pulling up all this dirt up to the corn. I'll be using this dirt mound right here. And what that means is the corn itself will be secured to the earth a lot better to help prevent wind damage. This is why I do this. Plus, the mulch in there acts as a water tower. During the dry times, that mulch is going to be wet and providing moisture and water for the corn to get them through hard times. So it's going to be, that's what's happening with my corn. And for those of you who don't grow things much, when I look at a stalk of corn, I count it as 2 ears of corn. When you see a stalk, just call it 2 ears. Don't count on no more than that. Also, if you have a stalk of corn that's really tall, but the diameter of your pinky, and it's right next to a stalk of corn, that the stalk is the diameter of this piece of bamboo here, then get rid of the little stalk, because that little stalk is now, it has become a sucker. It is stealing nutrient. Well, it is trying to survive, but still, it's going to take nutrients to keep it alive, where it could be going to the particular stalk of corn that is actually going to produce food. So strategically weed out the items, the corn stalks that are not going to produce 1 ear of corn. We're on our 3rd year here of our asparagus. For the most mature ones, and I've done some additional replants in here in the asparagus bed, and I planted 10 more. And then I randomly here just a couple of weeks ago threw garlic in here too. So we'll let that go for a couple of years and let it kind of spread out. Now back to my raised garden beds. Let me get past this dirt thing first. I'll show you the difference in color of my dirt. I'm kind of excited about this because this is really good dirt. The ground's damp too, so it's not really... Oh, here we go. There's a dry area. There's a color difference. This is wet. It's been raining, but that's a good dry representation of what the dirt normally looks like. So that's going to be nice dirt. All right, so here's what I got going on. My raised garden beds, I initially built them and I lined them with feed sacks. That turned out to be a fail. The feed sacks were breaking down. I didn't realize they would. And then, of course, I also knew that eventually I'd have to come back in here and haul in more. Oh my God, Eggy, would you shut up? I'm going to get you, boy. Silence yourself, or I will make you YouTube unfamous. All right. About 3 years ago, ignore him, please. About 3 years ago, I built these, and they were plumb full of material. Well, they settled because of how I built them. The material in there enabled it to settle like 50%. And the original build included mulch as well. So it was a layer of hay, a layer of mulch, a layer of manure, and then dirt, and that filled them up. But over about 3 years, they've settled to more than 40 to 50% lower on each bay. Well, now I'm back to topping them off like I knew I would have to. So I'm hauling mulch in, and I'm getting these beds in a situation where they have about 5 or 6 inches of headroom. But this base right here is mulch. And since my dirt is in such, it's good looking dirt, I'm gonna throw on 5 or 6 inches of dirt and almost fill these up to the brim with dirt. And then, of course, here's the theory. You've got good 6 inches or so of good dirt, and all that weight's going to push down on that mulch. And then when it rains, the dirt gets wet, the mulch gets wet, the mulch will stay wet, but the dirt might dry out. But the plants that are in that dirt are all rooting down and tapping into that water reserve in the raised garden bed, and it gets them through those dry times. Now, back to the feed sack thing. I had to rework every single bed and add this 8 mil. I got it on Amazon, but it's a good 8 mil plastic, and I had to basically I had to unscrew everything. I took all the screws out that allowed me to pull that wall this away, feed the plastic in gently with some tools that I made, then pull the wall back up, get the end cap the same way, disconnect this wall from this arch. Whoa. With ratchet straps, gently pull this wall that way, slip this plastic in. I did that on all 6 bays, okay? It was a PITA, but worth it, I guess. So now that I have this going on here, I'm going to be final stapling this down, but I have another product that goes on top of this again and overhangs a lot more. And why I'm doing that is I'm capping off this plastic with another product that's a lot more durable. It's going to act as an awning, and it will help keep the lumber dry as well to increase the longevity of these. They're doing really well. What's there right now is keeping these pallets really dry, even when it rains pretty hard, because there's enough overhang. So I'm not done capping off the top edge of the pallets, but I had to do a lot of rework. But right now I'm re-topping off the beds like I anticipated I had to do. So I'm slinging mulch from my free mulch that I got from when the power company subcontracted out a company to come in and clear power lines and all that. And I'm just tossing with a pitchfork right there and building up. Let's see, anything else? It's first week in May. I've got stuff I wanted to start from seed that I want to be going in as plants right along through here. And it's been warm nights, so it gets down in low 50s. Yeah. It's called cold hardening. Tomatoes and broccolis, cauliflowers, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, yada yada. I got a lot of things here. But as soon as I move some of these things into real dirt, they're going to pop. They'll get settled in and life will be good. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. I have no idea what that is. You are a pepper plant. Look at you go. That is sure as hell fine looking pepper plants. Okay. Lots of different squashes and stuff going on here. But you can always replant squash and catch up. They're really resilient like that. The problem is if I plant a squash in those raised beds, birds will come in and try to get them, and I'd have to lay over netting over everything. And I suppose I could do that. We shall see. But that's the update on this year's garden work. The chickens destroyed my strawberry patch. I can recover from that. But I had a really nice strawberry bed going on here. And of course they free range, and that's what's left of my strawberry patch. I've got to get this area here bamboo fenced off with electric fence just like this. And they got zapped a few times and they learned their lesson. And that's what my little bamboo stakes are, is 2-tier electric fencing on zip ties that pass through the bamboo, and the white electrical tape or duct tape straps hanging there for the chickens to visually see. They avoid anything that has that look now. They don't even go in the garden area. I did have one chicken named Timmy that she got shocked and died. So that's that. I felt bad, but it's this is about the only lot, and this is working for deer too. 16 minutes. My wire here is set up in such a way to where it has breakaway sections. Okay, look at that. It's just simple little loop backs. And then the next breakaway section for this is right here. So it's every other post, there's a breakaway section. Breakaway section right there. What I mean by that is if a deer comes in and it gets zapped, it's going to kick. But what's going to give way is these breakaway sections, which means they don't destroy the post and they don't destroy the wire. The wire is going to naturally disconnect from these breakaway sections and not totally destroy your entire fencing setup. You intentionally add breakaway sections. And that's a good enough connection with when your charger is supplying like 18 or 20,000 volts but low current. Just the act of these guys, it would take a lot of corrosion before your fence starts having conductivity issues. And that's what I like about wire over the rope stuff. With the wire, you can control where your breakaway sections are, and you can manage your fence better. You walk out here and you see, you can actually look outside, and if you see some of your little tape pieces awkwardly not elevated proper, you'll know you've got something tried to get in there last night. So far raccoons are staying out and deer are staying out. I had deer testing that out around the mulch area, and it only disturbed the breakaway wire. None of the posts were damaged or nothing. So maybe that's a helpful for someone else out there. But raised garden beds, well, had to do some work on them. The feed sacks keeping the dirt in, they decomposed. They UV decomposed, you know, sun and all that. So the feed sacks turned out to be a poor idea. This is what was going on with them. They were just falling apart. They were decomposing. I didn't know feed sacks were biodegradable. But I guess they are. All right, guys, you have a great day. I've got work to do to get my water towers in my raised garden beds, because that's what I refer to them as, my water towers or water tables. And then I'll be hauling dirt, and I'm not looking forward to that. I know what moving that dirt in these things is all about. I'm not against manual labor, but god dang, I've paid my dues. All right, guys, we shall see you later. Except for one more thing. I did decide to move some permanent things over here. Like I got grape and blueberry, blueberry, and blueberry into this particular bed here. I thought it would be kind of neat to have a fruit thing going on inside these raised garden beds. Well, it's starting to rain now, so I got to throw my plastic trash bag over me so I can be out here working in the rain or whatever, but still making progress on getting these filled up because the clock is ticking for getting the garden up and functional. We shall see ya. Bye.